Namaste, dear ones. I am Louv. Thank you so much for tuning in. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. Like and hit that notification bell. I will wait until you do so. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get into this. Redirecting your sexual energy and why it's so important. All right, so I've been journaling about so many different things that have been on my mind and things in relation to being an awakened goddess and actually wanting to awaken the goddess within. And it's so important that we realize when we talk about redirecting our power, when we think about that, it's loaded in so many different things in relation to codependency, in relation to abandonment, in relation to that wounded little girl within, and for guys, the wounded little boy within, because it's relevant for both. Although my platform is in particular geared towards awakening the goddess within, also awakening the god within. Men have challenges as well, so that's definitely something that should be considered. So let me go ahead and get into the purpose of what I'm saying about redirecting your power. As women, especially ever since you're a little girl, right? You're conditioned to believe in fairy tales of love and marriage and living happily ever after with a white picket fence and a dog and children, all these things. And for some people, this stuff does come to pass. Unfortunately, sometimes it's not without incident. And when I say without incident, meaning that we are really calibrated. And I'm speaking from a woman that's Southern, that has very traditional roots, that is Native in origin and take a lot of pride on really being with your man. When I say redirect and power, I'm not only just specifically talking about love relationships. I'm talking about just in general. And let's start with this. A lot of times we are conditioned to do so much and be so much for everybody. We give all our power away. We are left with pretty much running off of fumes because we give and give and give. And it's pretty much how we've been trained to be. And it's at no fault of elders, because if you think about the enslavement of our people, when you think about all those horrific things that happened, a lot of times the men were outsourced. Women were too, but in general, the men were outsourced for mass production of children, for labor, for all kind of things. And so for the most part, the women were there to carry on the family. All right. And it does bring up emotions, but feel those emotions. A lot of times when we're stopping ourselves from feeling certain emotions, it stops our growth. So when you're feeling those emotions come up, feel them and then let them pass, let it go, and realize that it's nothing to be ashamed about. When people do things wrong to you, it's not your shame to carry. You may feel that pain and that shame, but it's not yours. So let's get past that. So just starting off, just how we were raised and the psychology behind all that really sets up a lot of girls to become women that give all our power away. That's something that has to stop. What that looks like is taking time to do what makes you happy, taking time to do what brings joy to your life. If that is beautifying yourself, is something that you enjoy. If that is spending time in nature, doing yoga. If that is just laying down and relaxing. Taking the time to really recharge your own batteries and avoid giving your power away is so important, especially coming into your goddesshood. Because what's the purpose of being a goddess if you are in a position to continue to just do for everybody until you're completely exhausted? You're not in your goddesshood if that is your day-to-day life, unfortunately. However, it's nothing to really be alarmed and feel like, it's so much that's on you that you can't change. That's not true. Sometimes it's important to just let everything fall so that you can get your peace of mind back. That is so important. And I want to share a little bit about how I got into my true goddesshood. And it was a time in my life where I have to blame myself to a certain extent. I have to take some accountability. I was so into that mindset of just being so much to so many different people to the point where it was really hurting me. And when you get into a point of being a reliable person, and some women really get some type of pleasure out of this, but they don't realize that it's really hurting themselves. It's a narrative that's been fed to you that you have to take the accountability for to change and realize that, hey, this isn't working for me. And so that time in my life, I had a lot of relatives around me that did not mean me well, that were just positioning themselves in our lives for what they can get out of it, right? And so that became overwhelming to the point where I just had to surrender myself before the Creator and ask to just rid myself of all those attachments. And it happened. It happened. And so that's something that I really had to really pull my way out of, but I did it. I got there, and I'm so thankful. I feel vibrant. I feel refreshed. I don't feel overwhelmed. I don't feel, for lack of a better term, suicidal ideations. I don't feel any of that. Now, things happen on a day-to-day basis, but for the most part, my default setting is happiness, is peace, is enjoying my life, is enjoying my husband, it's enjoying my children, it's all those things. And most of all, it's enjoying myself in my own company. I really protect my energy. Bless you. It's my big baby. So I really protect my energy. I protect my power. And even in relation to giving away your power when it comes to relationships outside of yourself. So relationships with friends. Sometimes you could be in positions where you're even giving away your power to same sex, to your friends, because you are making yourself too available. You are divulging too much of your personal business, and you truly don't really trust that person. So you're just freely giving away your power. And to add insult to injury to that, you are dealing with someone that is pretty much a placeholder for you not really want to be by yourself. That's basically what it is. And, I'm not speaking just across the board because this is not a generalization. There are women and men that have really good relationships with other people, okay, friends. But for the most part, when you're talking about just people in general, and I'm generalizing with this, there are so many people that surround a lot of people around them just for the sake of them not feeling like they're by themselves. And that is something you need to really deal with. We're nurturing your wounded inner child and really cherishing that inner child. A way to really comfort that inner child that you have is do things that you would have enjoyed when you were a little girl. Go jump roping, just get on a swing, play on a swing, whatever. You have to realize that that inner child of you never really goes away. And it's something to really hold and embrace and love on. Sometimes you have to really hug yourself and love your inner child. If you're not loving yourself, how can you expect other people to love you? And sometimes the universe aligns in a way that so just beautifully that things will begin to align when you get to the point where you're wanting to level your life up and you really earnestly seek that guidance from the spiritual realm, from the Creator, from God. things are going to start to really the ball is going to start rolling, and things are going to take place. People are going to begin to just disperse. People are going to begin to be combative. A lot of things are going to happen, and you're like, I'm trying my best to just be this very sweet, loving woman. Why is things doing this? And it's because change is constant. You have to change. Either you're going to change for the better or you're going to change for the worse. That's basically how it goes. And so a lot of times people succumb to changing for the worse because of that fear of the unknown of what could happen, or if they're not going to have particular people in their lives. But I invite you to be brave. Dig deep for that courage inside. If you don't have the courage, and even if you shake, even if you tremble at the thought of people in your life that are current in your life that are not serving you or no longer being in your life, you have to prepare yourself for that. You need to take the time to journal. Get you a journal that is cute, beautiful. This one is marble in the back and gold sparkles in the front. Get something that you'll be attracted to writing in. Write down your thoughts and your feelings. I have a diary which is separate, but keep that momentum going of evolving your life, and realize that although the boat may get a little rocky, you're not going to fall out into the sea. Everything's going to be fine. It's just that when things have been a certain way for so long, I have a little glitter in my hair. When things have been a certain way for so long, right? Say, for instance, in my position, I was the type of person that was helping so many different relatives with their children. I was overwhelmed, but I loved the baby. So it was a perfect setup for my codependency. And I had to learn from that. I have my own children, and although I love my nieces and nephews, I love myself more. I'm not their parent. It's not my position to save the world. It's my calling to be the best person I can be, the best woman I can be. And by doing that, it means to saying no, setting up healthy boundaries. Okay, and like I said, if you've been in a position of doing things for people, especially if it's not reciprocated, because a lot of times when you are an empathetic person, when you're a giver, when you're a healer, people that take tend to not really want to stop doing that. Okay, so be prepared for some backlash. Be prepared for some, frustration from those parties that you're just shutting down. But it's so important to go through that process, because you begin to really fall in love with yourself and regain all of your power back. And there's no greater feeling than to really be an awakened goddess in her true divinity. Truly, I have no regrets. And like I said, it's been a little tumultuous at times, but the whole gift of the process is me being actualized in myself and loving myself. And so what that looks like is, if things do not serve me, I don't have them in my life.